بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to day 22 of Qur'an Recitation Mastery. In this video, I'll be talking about the rulings of Lafdhul-Jalaalah. I know the word Lafdhul-Jalaalah is somehow technical. Lafdhul-Jalaalah. So, in the previous lesson, I explained the rulings of Nun and Mim Mushaddada, and I said Nun Mushaddada is a Nun that has Shadda, and then Mim Mushaddada is a Mim that has Shadda. The reading of Nun Mushaddada is like that of Idgham Nun Sakina fi Nun. For example, when you have Ka'anna, breaking the Nun down, Nun Shadda down, we have Nun Sukun and Nun Fatha. So it is pronounced as Ka'anna, just like you do, like when the case is for when the reading is idgham. So this is also the same thing you apply here. You merge your nouns together and you do one. So the same thing applies to the mem mushadada, but in this case, that one is now called idgham mutamathilain. So I can also say that idgham mutamathilain is also idgham non fi nun, like idgham non sakina fi nun, because you have two things coming together, right? So you are doing idgham mutamathilain. That, I already said that idgham mutamathilain is not only like mim is not the only letter under it. We have other letters. When other letters, any letter when it comes, like when you have like ba and ba coming before each other, when a ba sukun and ba fatha, something like that, so you match things together. That's what idgham mutamathilain is all about. So you can also say idgham nun sakina fi nun is also idgham mutamathilain, but based on what I've explained so far, I will just make it, or should I just say it is just idgham nun sakina fi nun. And also mim mushaddada is like idgham mutamathilain of idgham mim sakina, or idgham mim sakina, sorry. So this one also you merge and then you apply guna. So I can say the same ruling applies to both of them, because idgham nun sakina fi nun, we have nun sakina before nun. Idgham mim sakina fi mim, you have mim sakina before mim. So it's the same ruling, which is idgham mutamathilain, right? But based on what I've explained before, I will just stick to idgham nun sakina fi nun and idgham mutamathilain, or idgham mim sakina. Okay. So let's move on to today's lesson. Lam Lafdhul-Jalaalah. Now, when you see the word Allah, the first thing you see there is Hamzatul Wasl. Though in some cases when it is written alone, like you won't see the sword like sign on that alif, but normally it is Hamzatul Wasl, right? So, and then you have lam and then another lam before her, right? So the first lam is with the Hamzatul Wasl. So that makes it al, right? Al, like alif and lam. Then the next lam, which is always the one have that has shadda. Okay. So the second lam has shadda because you have to pronounce it Allah, and because it is a son letter. So son letter always have shadda after the word alif and lam, after the alif and lam article, right? So the second lam is the one we are talking about here. The second lam, which is the son letter, and then which has shadda on it, is the one we are talking about, not the first lam. The first lam is attached to Hamzatul Wasl, which makes it al, like like alif and lam. And then the second lam is lam lafdhul jalala. So there are two readings on that. Is when we have tarqiq and then tafkhim, like tafkhimul lam lafdhul jalala. I made a mistake here. And then tarqiqul lam lafdhul jalala. This is just like, grammar, and you don't really need that. So what you need is the readings and how to apply them, right? So when will you say la and when will you say law? That's what this video is about. Like, when will you say, like when you say Allah in the Quran, when will you pronounce it as Allah and when will you pronounce it as la? For example, when you have subhanallah, it is subhanallah and not subhanallah. And then when you have Bismillah. Why isn't it Bismillah but Bismillah? So you will know that here, inshallah. So tafkhim lam lafdhul-Jalaalah. Tafkhim means evidence, and it is otherwise known as something around a circular in shape. So tafkhim, when you're pronouncing a word or a letter, sorry, with tafkhim, your lips will form a circle shape. Not exactly circle, but it should be round. It won't be flat. Okay. So when you apply tafkhim to a letter, the pronunciation of the letter will be heavy, thereby forming the roundness of the lips. I'll explain that. So you apply tafkhim when there is fatha or dhamma before the word Allah, and then or when the letter fatha when the letter after fatha or dhamma takes sukun. This is just like the same thing, like fatha or dhamma comes before Allah, okay, and then fatha or dhamma, the letter after fatha or dhamma takes sukun. That means the first letter, like you are counting two letters from the back, right? So the first one takes fatha, the second one takes sukun, and the third one is Allah, right? So this is just like you're skipping the one with sukun, and then you just join the one with fatha together with Allah. You understand that with examples. So subhanallah. Now, this one is not subhanallah that like I've been pronouncing it, but subhanallah, because the ba you apply qalqala. I think the next maybe day 24 I'll explain what qalqala is and the readings. So subhanallah. You can say the fatha, the noon that has fatha before the word Allah. So it will be Allah with O, not with A. Subhanallah. And then Subhanallah. And then this one, Wa illallah. As you can see, there is a wow, there's a ya before the word Allah. And then that ya, when ya is not taking any sign, you know, ya is one of mad letters. We have alif, we have wow, and we have ya. So this here is ya mad. It is not taking fatha, it is not taking kasra, it is not taking dhamma. And you can even see that it doesn't have dots, right? So it is a ya mad. And then ya mad is like a ya that takes sukun, right? So that's what this reading is about, that the letter after fatha or dhamma takes sukun. It's like the letter that comes after the letter that takes fatha or dhamma takes sukun. So here a letter takes fatha, which is lam, and then the letter that comes after it takes what it takes sukun, you know, like an invisible sukun, right? And then you have Allah. So normally when you're pronouncing it, you won't pronounce ya, right? You just join wa ilallah. I think I explained this really when I was explaining Hamzatul Wasl. I said when you have mad before Hamzatul Wasl, you skip both the mad and the Hamzatul Wasl. If you don't remember, maybe if you jotted or anything, just go back to your notes or just go back to the video, maybe now or after this video. So when there is Hamzatul Wasl in between two words, you have skipped the Hamzatul Wasl. Just like you won't say wa ila Allah. Okay? But you will skip it because it is in between words. And then when you now have ya maddi or alif maddi or waw maddi before Hamzatul Wasl, you have to skip both because they are both in between words, right? Wa ila Allah. So you won't say wa ila Allah, okay? And you won't say wa ila Allah, but wa ila Allah. I already explained this before, right? So just go back to the video if you've forgotten. So wa ila Allah, wa ila Allah. So since you're skipping the mad and then the Hamzatul Wasl, you know, they are both in between words. So that's just like the same thing with the first example here, that you just have Hamza, Lam, then Allah, right? Hamza, Lam, then you have Lo. Like when skipping, you are skipping the Ya and the Hamzatul Wasl. because they are both in between words. And then you have Yamadi before Hamzatul Wasl, so it will be skipped. So wa ila and then law. So to join them together, you have wa ila Allah. So the next example is Allahumma. Allahumma. Allahumma, not Allahumma. It is Allahumma. So it will be O and not A. Allah, not Allahumma. So Abdullah, not Abdullah, but Abdullah. But you can say Abdullah. You will get to that. I mean, the next lesson or the next subtopic is about that. Abdullah, Abdullah, then Allahumma. This is just like the example two. You have Wamad before Allah. You know, in Allahumma, we have Allah, then we have Humma, right? So here you have Wamad before Allah, and then because there is Wamad, there is mud before its own letter, and also because you have Hamzatul Wasl there, you will skip both the mud and the Hamzatul Wasl. So it won't be a qalu Allahumma, but qalu Allahumma. So since you are skipping the waw and the Hamzatul Wasl, you just join lam with tumma together with the lam with shadda. So with the lam Lafdhul-Jalaalah. So that's just the same thing with when lam when a fatha or duma comes before the word Allah, right? So Allahumma. Let me know if you understand this concept, because I think it's kind of technical. But I think if you understand or if you can remember all the rulings under Hamzatul Wasl, you'll be able to remember this and you'll be able to understand this very well. So قالوا اللهم عبد الله اللهم وإلى الله and سبحان الله. So ترقيق لام لفظ الجلالة. Tarqiq means lightness or flatness. So that means when you're pronouncing a letter, when you're applying tarqiq to a letter, your lips will be flat when you're pronouncing it. It won't be O, like it won't form an O shape. So tarqiq will be applied to lam lafdhul jalala when kasra comes before it, when sukun follows the kasra that comes before it, and then when tanween comes before it. So I think the tanween aspect is kind of complex, but you understand if you listen and apply it. Okay. So ulillahumma. Ulillahumma, not ulillahumma. You have kasra before Allah. And then alhamdu lillahi. The first lam is taking kasra. And the lam lafdhul jalala itself is taking fatha. You know, I already said lam Lafdhul-Jalaalah is that second lam, not the first one. So here you have lillah, not lillo, right? So alhamdulillah. And then we have thumma billah. Thumma and then billah. We are skipping the Hamzatul Wasl because it is in between a word, right? It's in between a word. Yeah, it's a word, but you know, it's in between a word, yeah, because you have a letter before it. A letter is attached to it before you have the next letter, the next word. So B and then Allah. So to join them together, you have to skip D. Hamzatul Wasl and you have Billah. So Wayunadillah. This is an example of the second case, which is if sukun follows the kasra that comes before it. So sukun follows the kasra. The sukun is on daya, right? Because you know the sukun is invisible. And as long as the letter doesn't take fatha, kasra, or dhamma, what's on it is sukun. Okay, so sukun is here, and then you have kasra, which is jim shadda kasra before it. So now both of them now come before Allah. So here, because you are skipping the Maddi the ya and then the Hamzatul Wasl. You just join the Kasra together with Allah. وَيُنَجِّي وَيُنَجِّي not وَيُنَجِّي اللَّهِ وَيُنَجِّي. Now, if you are kind of confused, you should just go back to the readings, check the readings, and then um take the example, try to explain to yourself till you understand. Okay. وَيُنَجِّي kasra before sukun, and then the sukun will now come before Allah. So I think that should explain it better. So we have Qawmanillah. Now here we have Qawman and then Allah. As you can see, if you're breaking down the um tanween, you have mim fatha and nun sukun. That is Qawman. Like, right? I already explained this when I was explaining nun sakina and tanween. I said tanween and nun sakina are similar in the sense that when you break tanween down, you have nun sakina. So here it is the same thing as when you have mim, fatha, and nun sukun. That is man. So here too we have man, which is with tanween, right? So when you have, here we have nun sakina. Nun sakina is that tanween, right? So the process of making it very simple in writing. That's why we have tanween instead of nun that has sukun. So when nun that has sukun now comes before another sukun, when a letter that has sukun comes before a letter that has sukun, and there is no other condition for you to cancel out the first or the second letter, you have to give the first letter kasra. The first letter that has kasra, that has sukun, you have to give it kasra. Here you have, since you are skipping the mad and you are skipping the hamzatul wasl. So let us say we have mim that has tanween and then we have law, right? The first lam there is lam sukun, right? The first lam there is lam sukun. And then here we have mim fatha nun sukun. That is man. And then we have law, where the first lam has sukun. So we have nun sukun and nun and lam sukun. And then the reason why I'm saying that the first lam has sukun is because when you break down shadda, what do you have? Lam fatha, lam sukun, lam fatha, right? So here it will now be mani, because you are giving the nun sakina kisra. Manillah. There is also an example in Surah Al-Qiyamah. I don't think I remember the verse, but let me check. Surah Al-Qiyamah, but I don't think it is known sakina stuff, but it's just an example of this reading. Let me check. Okay, it's the same thing. يومئذ المستقر يومئذ إذن, just like this one. قومان يومئذ المستقر. That's because you have sukun following sukun. So you give the first one kasra and then you pronounce it. Let me know if you understand. If you don't understand, you can just drop a comment below. Okay. And the exercise, find 5